You're listening to Real Restaurant Radio, the show that inspires up-and-coming restaurant and bar owners, along with current operators, to pursue their passion in the restaurant business. I am your host, Kostas Lazanis, and I'm joined, as always, with my good friend, Carrie Hodson. Let us guide you through the process of being a successful owner and teach you how to make an impact in today's culinary world. Welcome back to Real Restaurant Radio, episode 21. Carrie, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, our podcast is old enough to drink.
Is it? It is old enough. Oh my, episode 21.
Yeah.
And we're drinking Red Bull today, so...
What's the year for the cutoff? Is it 95 now? I'm a bad bartender.
I don't pay attention to that. I need to have like the big sign that says "Do not drink before May 5th." But we don't have a lot of young people that come to our bar to try to order smoked cocktail. Like all of our stuff is like high end. They usually go to Applebee's to get like the $1, margarita.
Gotcha.
Things. Yeah,
we get young folks in. So.
You do? Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you have to turn down?
It's getting harder to tell. Young people have facial hair.
Do you turn down? Like, do you get a lot of underage drinkers attempting to partake?
No.
Okay.
Real close though. Like their IDs are up and down, vertical still.
Oh, they haven't had it renewed yet, or something like that.
Yeah, they don't have the 21 license, or they have like a paper license, or a passport, or out-of-state license.
There you go, making it hard for you, making your job hard.
Right.
Sorry if I sound nasally today. It's like allergy season, and
so the pecan trees are dropping all their. It's the male bloom. All those little pipe string looking things.
I didn't even know. But you have allergies too, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna sound real nasally today on Real Restaurant Radio.
We just put it through a filter.
Yeah, we can fix it up. Catering. Today we're talking about catering and all the things catering. That is a whole nother revenue stream for your restaurant, and a lot of restaurants don't even tap into that potential to make all of that extra money.
Right. Well, you have to get a lot of equipment. I guess maybe what are the hurdles of getting into it?
Well, do you cater at your restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Right, Carrie?
Yeah.
And obviously I cater at mine.
We didn't start off catering right away. We kind of didn't have a plan for it. And so, but people kept asking, we kept kind of like piecemealing it and figuring it out as we went. You started off with the catering menu. Isn't that right?
I started off with catering, and it's always been a nice little icing on the cake for our bottom line. And like you just said, people do want events catered and stuff like that, and they want to order in bulk. Excuse me. They want to order in bulk, and they want to have something that they can hold on to and look at and order from.
Right. So I guess one of the hurdles is having a kind of a separate menu, a bulk menu.
Yes. Developing a menu.
What do you do it by? Do you do it by person or
let's since we have two restaurant owners in the room, we can kind of just ask each other questions. I don't think we really rehearsed any of these questions, so they'll be off the cuff. But I actually do my caterings by the pan. So a full pan of potatoes or a full pan of rice. So we sell it by the pound.
So whether it's potatoes,
not by
or
the pound,
rice,
but by the pan.
How many people does that feed?
And so a typical full pan is going to feed about 15 to 20 people, and then we also will sell it by the half pan, which is going to feed 6 to 10 people.
Okay.
And we give those like really generalized answers because is it like 20 elementary kids, or is it like 20 like lumberjacks?
Right. Yeah. We started off doing it as our servings in house, which are pretty big for sides, and then that's our low end. So it's like actually our half pans are 15 people, 15 servings.
Okay.
But we have
the thin ones or the deeper ones?
The deeper ones. So they're the medium half pans.
Okay.
So which is a shallow full pan.
Okay.
It's all the pans.
all the pans.
But the customer doesn't have to know. They care about like how many people will that feed. It's 15 to 20. But if you have, 14, well, that's too many. But if you have one side option, they're going to eat more of that mac and cheese or potato, right? If you have 3 sides as an option, people are going to pick up a plate and usually pick 2 of them. And then so you kind of you can lower the overall amount. We have people who try to order, 100 pounds of food to feed 10 people, and we have to say, hey, like, I'd like for you to write me this big check, but you're going to be eating barbecue for the rest of your life.
We do the same thing, and,
Yeah.
and I think it's almost like a customer appreciation when you can tell them, "Hey, don't order so much food from us."
Right.
I think they like appreciate that.
I never hear it, but they order from us again, so I guess that's good enough,
But with you saying that, obviously that just tells you right there that the catering menu I think is really important, and I'm actually in the middle of redeveloping my catering menu where I write down those things on the menu because I'm tired of
Explaining.
my employees calling saying, "Hey, you need to call this person back on a catering order,"
Oh.
because like you just told me, you had to sit there and explain all that to me just now. I think implementing that in the menu development would save and just being clear and concise with the customers through the menu is going to save me a lot of time and also just have some clarity for the customers. Be like, a full pan feeds 15 to 20 and actually write that down. Feeds 15 to 20. Half pan feeds
That's
6
good.
to 10.
Yeah, we
Al-
might do that too.
Also, obviously we talk about analyzing other restaurants and other concepts. I see some restaurants that actually do like a, big fat Greek dinner, whatever they call it, but
Feeds 60 people.
well, but yeah, basically like, hey, if you want to feed, 15 to 20 people, here's like our famous feast. And it would include, pita bread, tzatziki sauce, a meat and 2 sides.
I love that idea.
And all wrapped up in one package. That way you just grab it and go.
It's easy.
You don't have to sit there and try to have to pick and sort
Well,
out.
you can
the
choose
things.
the sides that work for the budget, that work well for you,
Yeah, so I would say like for a barbecue restaurant, just as a layman, I would want something that was like, feeds 10 people, pick 2 meats, pick 3 sides, and the price at the bottom of the thing is like
We do have a per person.
like $100.
We have a per person, like quarter pound and 2 sides, per person half pound, 2 sides, half pound or 2 different meats, and then per person 3/4 or 3 meats and 2 sides. So some people do use that because they don't want to do the math on the per pound and like customize, which ends up being a little cheaper doing it by the pound, but it's pretty similar. So
Do you get like a price break per person? Like say if you're doing 10 people versus 30 people?
we haven't done it that way yet.
Okay.
If you want a custom quote because you're having more than 10 people or, you're more than a pharmaceutical rep dropping food off, then usually they'll ask, because they want to customize it anyways. And then we give them the best price anyways.
So I know that your food cost, or at least I know that my food costs go up slightly on catering because I do try to give them that better deal, especially when you're ordering like, a full pan of rice or a full pan of potatoes or
Sure.
a full pan of roast chicken. But what's cool about catering is that, you're not having to have all these moving pieces of one meal at a time. I mean, you're feeding 20 people real quick, and it's just like, fix it and forget it type thing.
Well, there's a couple types of catering, right? There's they come and pick it up, and you have it in foil pans, and you never see them again.
I love those kind of caterings.
Those are the best. And then there's you drop it off, but similar aluminum pans. I guess there's kind of a hybrid where have you ever had to set up and provide disposable chafing dishes with the kind of the wireframe aluminum ones with the sternos and everything, and you set it all up to keep warm, but you leave it up to them, right? And
Yep.
then there's the full-on bring all your metal catering stuff, your tablecloths, don't forget a lighter, and serve.
Yeah, all of those things, and I think each of those need to have. You gotta be careful. Make sure you include the pricing for your overhead on those things. So like those little, like you talked about, those disposable chafing frames and the fuels. Like those fuels are like if you go to Walmart, which
$6 a set.
I had to
$10
go to
a set.
Walmart to buy one time because I was
Oh,
like out and
no.
about. And I was like, oh my gosh, who did not pack the? They're charging like $5 per sterno fuel.
You can't keep them in the car, right?
Yeah. Well, I have I haven't had any
Can you?
problems yet.
Okay.
I haven't had my car has not exploded yet. I'm not sure if you can or not. Does it say there's probably like a big warning sign on the side? Do not keep in the Texas heat, or
Probably.
it'll explode.
Or anything over 110 degrees, which your car definitely gets over 110 degrees. I've been wondering about that. Do you, like if you don't use a full 2 or 4 hour sterno and you put the lid back on and put it out, can you reuse that?
I've used those ones. They're like I think Sam's Club sells like the 12-hour ones that are like almost like have like some type of like wick inside.
Okay.
And they have a screw-on lid.
Okay.
I've reused those multiple times. And to counter what you said, I actually have left them in my van because I did FUTA for a full year, and we were catering every single day of the year. So we just kind of kept everything going on.
Do you have like a box of essentials in your van at all times?
Yeah. So when I was in Boy Scouts, when I was camping all the time, we had these things called dry boxes, and I think they're really cool to have when you're catering. It's like you need to have a dry box where you keep all of your dry goods, napkins, plates, forks, sterno fuels, lighters, all these things. And I actually went to Home Depot and bought these big DeWalt roller toolbox type things. They're like the biggest ones they have. I think they're like $70, just big, thick plastic ones. Because another thing about catering is mobility.
Like totes or
little tote boxes, yeah.
Okay.
That's what they are. Not toolboxes, tote boxes. But just the biggest tote box they had. And you know how it is, like you pay for quality.
They got wheels and a little handle and
Yes, a little
snap-on lid.
retractable handle. And it's so great because before, like, we were like carrying stuff up, and it's like now it just looks so professional just to roll in and roll out. And with catering, especially when you're going to different offices or different things like that, you have to like travel,
Sometimes
go up elevators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple elevators.
Exactly.
See the front desk for an ID and yada yada yada.
So yeah, just having just starting when you broke down all the different type of caterings, but for a pickup, I obviously don't charge anything. But for like a delivery, we'll charge $15 to $20 for a delivery fee, up to $50, $60 depending on. Like I've had people order from Louisville.
Oh wow.
I'm like, you want us to deliver out Louisville? And we get these hot boxes that we talked about,
right?
Which like these are like really really thick insulated, basically
coolers
containers.
with the door on the front instead of the top, and then they have these little kind of edges to them to where pans. You can stack pans in there and it holds them without them touching.
Now, Kerry actually, he saw mine and he's like, those are nice, but I've got to get something better than yours because I'm better than you.
Nah.
And he got the electrical ones. Like yours plug in, right?
Yeah, they're about $750 a piece.
And mine were like $350, I think $275 or $300.
Right.
The ones that are not.
They do plug in.
So tell me about your hot boxes.
So they're half size, right? Otherwise, you couldn't carry anything bigger. They come on a cart. They're stackable. We go as high as 3, but it's higher than that. You can't go through doors. And they have a little heater on the front door. And basically it's like just a power cord goes to it. And it has 2 heavy duty computer fans pretty much in there that blows air over those, that heating element and just keeps the whole hot box at 160.
Nice. And I've noticed that not only do you use those for caterings, that if you have a big event at the restaurant, those can also double down as another holding cabinet.
Yeah, we end up using them every day. We have 4 now, 2 that are set aside because sometimes we needed that we just need that flexibility.
That's awesome. That's actually a really cool pro tip for you guys that are looking at opening a restaurant.
I did have one fan go out though.
That's my next question. I was gonna say, like, for that, because like a real holding cabinet's like $1,200 to $2,000. I was wanting to see what the quality
two
was
of
on
those. Is with the cart is around the same price, right?
Exactly.
They hold a little less because they're not as wide. You can't put full sheets sideways in. You have to put them long ways in.
But you get the flexibility though.
You can only put half sheets in there. Yeah.
Okay.
But you get the flexibility. And I guess when the fan went out, it kept tripping the element.
Mm-hmm.
And I just called Cambro and told them what was up. It was still under warranty, and they sent me a new fan, and
nice.
about 10 minutes I had it running again. So
there you go.
That whole heater is replaceable. It pops out of the door so you can clean it. Like it's got 5 little thumb screws, and you can take it out and clean it and put it back without any tools. And then you can buy the whole replacement part if you wanted to.
Cool.
So the box isn't trash just because the element is out.
So that would be that was called an electrical holding cabinet.
Right. Right.
So look into that if you're looking at getting catering. I'm happy with what I got. Mine are not electrical, but they're guaranteed to not drop 1 degree in temperature for 7 hours.
Yeah.
So as long as you just keep
It's probably
that door
overkill for us, but
you know, when
we
you're
like it.
when you're opening and closing the door, though, I mean, that's like it holds the temperature if you don't open the door. But once you open that door, like all of that heat will escape.
And so if you're at a wedding or something where you're changing pans out, because you can't put out all the food, right?
Absolutely, yeah, just
So
one at a
you've
time.
got
Exactly.
backups of all your sides, and you're opening the door and closing it. It's really nice to have.
So let's talk about bigger catering events. I've done my biggest catering event was for 950 people.
Jeez.
They called me and I said, "Yeah, we can do a catering for 95 people." And she goes, "No, man, no, sir, it's going to be 950 people." I said, "We could do a catering for 950 people." I had no idea how I was going to like call a semi truck company and rent a semi truck. Like I was going
Full
to
of hummus.
I never say no.
Concrete mixer full of tzatziki sauce.
I never say no. I never say no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was like confidently said, "Of course we could do 950 people." I started calling every restaurant owner I know, like, "I need this, I need this. Can I borrow that? Can I borrow this?" And we ended up staying up all night cooking. And
Where'd you put it all?
and well, I rented some more hot boxes from Taylor Rental,
Oh, okay.
and we rented 2 hot boxes from them, and we stacked it all inside there. Charged $10 per person, so they wrote me a check for $10,000.
Sure.
And luckily, it was in the summertime, and I had all of these applications in my office, and I started calling these applications and be like, because here's the thing is they wanted
Service too.
6
You can
catering
hire
catering
temporary
lines.
service, right?
You can hire anything, right? It's just you probably have
Yeah.
to pay a pretty penny for that.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, we did 6 catering lines that were double sided, and it was a success, and they loved it. So
That's great. I think the most we've done is around 400. I just got a text this morning though asking for just sandwiches for 1,000.
wow,
But it's a church and they're on a
budget.
budget of 0, and it's I don't know
Yeah.
if we're gonna be able to make it work because we get our buns made locally, you know, and
Same baker.
Our meat, yeah, thanks. our meat's a little higher quality than what you get at Sam's Club. So it's kind of like, well, can you use a different meat and can you use a different bun? And then I'm like, well, we can, but then it's not us.
Yeah,
It's like just call the other guy, you know.
I
But-
feel you have to. I think you have to stand your ground. I think Carrie and I have been in business longer.
Yeah,
And as we're in business longer, you have to start saying no to things because everybody wants stuff for free. It's like you're gonna pay the guest speaker $20,000 and he has no overhead, but you're gonna hustle me down.
or
you
the
know.
venue. You're gonna pay the venue $12,000 to be there,
Exactly.
but you want me to cater your whole wedding for cost and
Yeah. I don't know.
on a Friday.
Because I think people
Yeah.
associate food with like a necessity, and like,
Maybe
they
I don't know what the mentality is. On
I don't
that.
know, but they think like the food should be so cheap. It's like no,
Maybe it's just because it's like shrouded in mystery.
what's that?
The whole food cost thing.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe
like,
they don't get it.
We got to pay for the food. Like we purchased the food.
I don't
and
know.
It costs money.
I think it's pretty normal to say, all right, the food cost them 30%. The overhead and labor cost them another 30. So, you know, when I'm giving them $900, really I'm giving them $300. Would I do it for that?
Yeah. Yeah. You
I
know,
don't
it's
know.
funny if you break it down like that. It's so true. So have you done any weddings or anything like that?
Yeah, we've done a bunch. I like the ones that are in house on our patio because we can really control everything. We have the same staff and more storage in the back. You don't have to like bring so much with you. You know, you don't have to worry about the dry box and the traveling. And then we've done quite a few offsite. Till I guess they've all been pretty much in our comfort zone. We're barbecue and people want exactly what we offer, you know.
Exactly. So when you do
they don't
weddings,
have a whole lot of special requests.
is it like barbecue sandwiches or like just sliced brisket or is it ribs? What are people normally asking for? Just out of curiosity.
The most, I guess, popular thing would be sliced brisket, chicken, but we try to steer them towards turkey because a lot of people don't. We do like half chickens and bone-in chickens. They take up a lot of space, and a lot of people actually are afraid to get it for some reason.
Because it has bones in it.
I guess
People don't like bones.
I guess so, and they're just intimidated by it, and so there's always a whole bunch of leftover. And we say sliced turkey, and people will love it, and eat it all. I guess like jalapeno with cream corn and mac and cheese and beans are just what they want.
Just keep it simple. A lot of people like
Yeah.
the simple staples.
Right. Pulled pork is probably next popular, followed by ribs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I assume ribs are probably a little bit more expensive.
Yeah. But people don't take 5 ribs; they only take 1 or 2. So it goes a long way when they're serving themselves.
That's what I noticed about catering is like people eat less food because they put everything on one plate, like the salad on a plate, one potato.
Not an employee party.
I meant like a regular catering party. No. Yeah, your employees will rob you. Oh, you mean
not
talk
just
about
mine? Like if you're catering like a auto dealership or a manufacturing company or something.
They clean you out, huh?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They're there to eat.
There they eat.
But at a wedding, everybody's kind of
That's what I meant to say.
they're
Yeah,
there for the
exactly.
cocktails and they're picking at it and not eating a whole lot. So there's always leftovers at a wedding.
Well, like anything, one of my biggest hurdles from catering is getting the job, and I think that's for a lot of people is just getting with the different venues, like wedding venues or different companies around town.
That's the easiest part for me because Molly does it.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go.
I'm just not as responsive and organized when it comes to email.
Sure. Is she booking them for you guys? I mean, is she doing a good job?
All the quoting, all the
That's awesome.
coordinating. She does all of our communication with the kitchen staff about how much food we need when, and if it's big enough to change our biweekly deliveries for certain items. We have to coordinate that too. Make sure we have the supplies. So
That helps out a lot, just having somebody just focusing on catering, because you can make a lot of money with your restaurant with catering.
it easily pays for her whole salary, and then she does a lot more on top of that. So
That's amazing.
works for me.
And I know you just bought that catering like shack or shed room.
We have a new dry storage for all of our. No food goes out there, but it's all just
Your pans.
cups and pans and.
Which we should tell the listeners, right? Like, have space for all of your dry goods, because like all of these boxes and pans, like you just said, and lids and cups, they come in these huge boxes.
Right, you need a lot more space than you think.
And I stuff boxes everywhere. I got boxes coming out.
I mean, you've
every
all
corner.
been to those restaurants where they're in a strip center, and like you going towards the bathroom, and there's like just a wall
of boxes
of stuff.
You should see my wall of boxes next to the bathrooms
Yeah,
that I
that
had
happens a
at my
lot.
restaurant in the
Yeah.
strip center.
Yeah, there you go. You have shelving in there. It's a little more organized, but some places I've seen, like, wow, there's stuff hanging from the ceilings. And we have a little of that in our hallway and in the kitchen.
But you also have like your like big like warehouse where you brew beer at that you can store a lot of stuff at too, right?
We don't put any kitchen stuff in there.
Well,
Having a brewery also requires a lot of space for stuff.
All-
kegs
yeah,
and
okay.
cans and
never winning.
chemicals. So we kind of draw a line there and don't let it cross over, because then I can see like our kitchen manager getting upset at the brewer and the brewer getting upset at the kitchen, and I just
Yeah, don't want to deal with all that.
no. Those are separate.
Yeah, so catering's very important. Just building that menu and having it being able to communicate with the customer. I think that's a big takeaway
Yeah.
from catering.
Don't be afraid to redesign your menu just because you have 1,000 copies of. I mean, it's paper.
Yeah, don't let paper hold you back.
Make sure it's on your website, so you can send people to your website. We also recently added, there was a contact us page, but we also added on the catering page a way to contact the catering manager directly. You just type it in, and that way it doesn't have to filter through me, who was controlling the other one. So cut a day off of every quote.
So it's just catering at
Simple
intrinsic.com.
stuff like that. Yeah.
And I think a little more, another layer of professionalism as well.
So you said getting the job is hard. You recently or have been using Easy Catering?
Easy Catering, yeah, that's, again, I think a few episodes back we talked about Uber Eats and all these things. Easy Cater's really cool.
They reached out to me and I hadn't really heard of them, and then I asked you, and of course you'd already been using them.
Yeah, they charge like I think 10% or 15%. I think you can choose.
I'm gonna take notes.
I think you can choose which
This episode
which
won't come
level
out for a week. So.
we can choose which layer you want to, like, which bracket you want to be on, and
Brackets?
I think you can do 10% or 15%,
Oh.
and each one.
Why would you
Well, I think
opt to pay them more money?
I think you're at the top of the list or something like that.
You
I just do the 10%.
Okay.
Because if they want Greek food, they're gonna get Greek food.
Right.
But the whole thing, they're trying to maximize their profits as well.
Okay.
But yeah, there are people who only will use Easy Cater, and we get probably 1 or 2 catering orders a month.
Okay.
But for some
What
reason,
size catering?
it usually it'll be like a $200 to $500 catering order,
Okay.
and
What's the I don't know, size of the catering?
I mean, it's normally like about between 10 and 30 people.
Okay.
So then they'll just take your catering menu off your website and put it into their portal.
And what's the communication like?
So they'll send you an email, and you click confirm on it, and then they'll send you another email to reconfirm. And then if you haven't reconfirmed, they'll call the restaurant and be like, they'll send an automated phone call to let you know, hey, please confirm your Easy Cater order.
Do you ever talk to the customer, the end user?
No, we don't. I haven't. I think I did it once or twice. For some reason, like
they were there, or because
yeah, they were
takes
there.
two.
I take it back. I did talk to one end user one time, and I probably should have said, hey, you can just call me directly. But
is that against the easy user agreement?
I don't remember. Maybe, I don't know. But so I think what the thing is with the Easy Caterers, they get a kickback as well. Like, hey, if you use Easy Catering, we'll give you
10% coupon.
yeah,
or
or something.
They have wiggle room there, right?
They do something for the end user, and you get points and you get a free catering every. I don't know what they do for the end user, but I'm sure it's something like that.
Okay.
To maintain catering loyalty from their
site. Like, it was so easy, and you didn't have to deal with it. And we've already vetted these restaurants, and they're gonna show up.
And it's nice
and if they don't, we're gonna kick them off our website. I
Sure.
guess.
And they have they also have reviews for each restaurant, so you can say, hey, if it's a 1-star restaurant, maybe don't use that catering
Okay.
company.
Okay. So they don't kick anyone off.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I haven't been kicked off, so
I'm sure you've always delivered.
always delivered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's catering that I would never have had. Like, I never would have driven out to this like random hole in the wall place in Plano. Like, they would never have heard of me.
Right.
And ironically, on Easy Cater, the caterings I have, for some reason, they leave like these exorbitant tips, like $30 tips or $40 tips, and I'm like, well, that was like the commission. So
Okay.
it's like I didn't even,
Yeah.
they paid for my commission with a tip. And normally I'm the one who kind of drives it out because I don't have a lunch deliver.
Right.
So they'll charge they'll do like a $20 delivery fee on there and a $30 tip. So it's like $50
Stays in the business. Yeah.
And I'll run it out there real quick, drop it off, and make some phone calls on my commute.
Right.
And it's like, no problem at all.
Nice break in the day. Maybe.
Yeah, change up the monotony of the day. But obviously, you can hire if wherever you're at in your business, if your catering manager or your catering personnel staff can run that out as well. There may be some other catering company out there. Have you heard of any other catering companies like that?
I'm sure I have.
See, I did Fuda. I did
okay.
Fuda for a year,
But that's service.
and
Easy Catering sounds like something you drop off.
it is.
Okay. That's what I'm looking at.
But while we're talking about catering, I don't know. I don't know if I want to warn people not to do Fuda, or let me just say
Well,
that
you get reviewed by them and by all your customers. Why can't you review
Yeah.
their service or their partnership?
Yeah, so with Fuda, and if you're living, I think they have them in Chicago, Dallas, New York. They have them in a few, I think LA. Basically, it's a company that allows you to go into big office buildings and do a chef pop-up lunch. and it sounds great. You drive to the site, you set up your shaping pans, and you feed between 50 and to 200 people every single day.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
a great alternative to having a brick and mortar.
it is, but they take like 25 to 30. I forgot what it was. I think I told you at one point, right? Was it 20%?
You have to use the register, right?
Yeah, you have to use their point of sale, and then they'll take out the 20% out of that. I forgot what it was. I think it was 20%. It's been so long.
That seems high.
I think it was like 20% up to 1,000, and then it was 25% over 1,000.
It's like no guarantee.
And there was no guarantee. So what would happen was, and let me just tell you all the bad things. What would happen is like you would get to a site, and they would prep you for 50, and like 30 people would order, or 25 people would order, and that doesn't sound like a big deal. But whenever you're paying like 2 people to drive out to a site, and they arrive at like 8 a.m. to start prepping and load up, and then they drive out there and they set up, and then they clean up and they drive back, you have to pay those personnel that entire time.
Right.
And then your kitchen staff has to get up there extra early. Like I had my kitchen staff for 1 full year. We did this.
Seems like a food truck sort of.
Yeah, it's very low profit margins.
Yeah. Or like a one-man show situation.
It was tough, and luckily I didn't have to do it. I actually hired a catering manager that year. I paid her $12 an hour. But then you have to look at like insurance, commercial insurance for that employee, because she's driving like your big truck to load all the food in.
Right.
And the biggest thing was just that it was good whenever it was like 120 people, but when there was like 50 people, it's like you broke even that day by the time you paid your labor costs and your food cost. And another thing they wanted to do was sell your food really cheap, because they're saying, hey, you're going to do volume. You're going to sell, 50 covers in 1 hour, but we need to
it's lunch too. They want like $8 to $10 meals.
Yeah. So we were pricing it down to like $6, $7.
Yeah.
$10 is what we were trying to shoot for everything, but it's like a Euro sandwich would be like $6, but then they'd take 20% or 25% of that $6, so it was like $5.
No, not doing it.
See what I'm saying?
Spinning your wheels, man.
So I think I was spinning my wheels. I was doing, making $1,000 a month for like redlining my staff for 30 days straight.
Right.
And it was just not worth it. What I would say is it would be worth it is like, if say your restaurant was, say this was like in Chicago, and you were catering in the high rises right above you, within like a quarter-mile distance. Well, guess what? Now you're marketing to thousands of people that may or may not have ever heard of your restaurant.
Sure.
So you can hand out coupons and hand out things like that. Where we're at in North Texas, when you're driving an hour to these sites,
everything's 30 minutes away from everything.
No one's going to drive an hour to go eat at your restaurant. So we were driving out to Frisco and Plano and Fort Worth and all these places by the Dallas DFW Love Field, DFW Airport.
No one's going to say, man, that gyro or that barbecue sandwich is so good, I'm going to go
to Rowlett, Texas. Yeah.
Right.
So if you could use that, I
wouldn't say nobody, but not as many as you. It's not worth doing it for tiny margins.
Sure.
Just for advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not like in your neighborhood. Like if the
time would have been better spent walking the neighborhoods and putting flyers on the door.
I agree. Anyway, so that was my experience with Fuda. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying like buyer beware.
I think if you're a brick and mortar, you need to be driving more traffic to your restaurant. If there's like a new 30 kitchen commissary opening in the warehouse area of Garland, that's going to be where food trucks can come. They have kitchens that you can rent. If you don't have a brick and mortar and you're working out of a food truck or a commissary like that, then maybe it would be great.
Maybe, yeah. That's something
different type
something
of
to
overhead.
Consider.
Mm-hmm. Or you're a one-man show.
Or perhaps if you have like 4 or 5 restaurants spaced throughout your city.
Okay.
Then you could utilize that to market to all 5 of those restaurants type thing.
Sure.
Like I think Chick-fil-A actually is part of the Fuda program.
Really? Wow.
And again, for them, they're like really trying to like, push their brand on as many people as they possibly can. So that, I guess it works. For them, it probably is just a marketing.
They're fast food. I mean, It's hard to compare a gyro or a Greek dish and a 12-hour smoked brisket to
fried chicken sandwich.
Fried chicken sandwich, yeah, with a couple of pickles on it.
Yeah. Well, man, that's catering. I think we covered a few things there. Right? Hopefully, you guys learned something, right?
I learned something.
No, Easy Cater is great, Carrie. Check it out. You're gonna love it. Just throw it out there. It's not a high volume thing, but
You can always say no.
yeah, it rings up. You can accept the order or decline the order.
Right.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And if you have any questions on catering, how to grow your catering business inside of your restaurant, or just catering tips in general, you can email either of us. Check out our website. We got it up and running now. It's called realrestaurantradio.com. Anything else for our listeners, Carrie, before we head out?
No, I mean, I got the link on our website now. So
Yeah, so if you go to
pretty cool.
Intrinsic,
We got a brand new website.
is it called Intrinsic?
Intrinsicbrewing.com.
Intrinsicbrewing.com. What all did you do to your website differently? Because it still looks semi the same.
The videos are different. We added a page for the catering contact. Just how it all is laid out. Instead of the menu being photo generated, it's actually text, so it's searchable.
Nice.
And it also works for like the vision impaired. They can. There's programs out there that'll read the site to you. So
Okay, really neat. Awesome.
that kind of stuff.
I think that might be a title for another episode. Is a restaurant website development.
Maybe.
Write that in our notes. Well, guys, until we meet again, thank you guys so much for listening to Real Restaurant Radio. My name is Kostas Lozanis.
Corey Hodges.
And
Carrie Hodson.
And we will see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.